I'm so excited about your move. Can you tell me what made you move from Pixar to Netflix? How you got the gig, and why Netflix?
Well, that's all. That's fascinatingly one answer, I think. Let me give it a shot. Um, Everybody has Netflix in their home, so you can see almost anything in Netflix, right? Because they seem to have not only a lot of content, but it's a lot of content that comes from every corner of the globe. And there are these stories, movies, series that come from even like languages that you won't normally encounter. You wouldn't seek them out, right? If they weren't just, a click away. And you get to hear these stories and you'd be fascinated. Wow, these are amazing. I'm so glad to have this choice. And as a storyteller, that to me feels like such an amazing opportunity to be able to tell a story from whatever corner of the globe you're from and be able to tell your story in um, in this arena that actually speaks to the rest of the world. And then also for someone who has worked in a studio system for several decades, um, I tend to work within the brand confines of the studio. And I'm very happy to have done it, but at the same time, I have done it for a long time. So when I look at Netflix, it looked like, look at the diversity and inclusion and the kind of stories that are being told there. But also, it seems like with the creator freedom to be able to tell that story in however way you want felt so enticing to me that it was the next step that I had wanted to explore. So when I approached Netflix with uh, these stories that I wanted to tell, they were not only very receptive, but it is part of their mission to be able to tell stories like the ones that I was bringing to them. So they said, we would love to invite you to come and tell your stories here. And thank goodness that happened.
So you'll be doing a lot of animated series and films. And what kind of Filipino stories are you targeting, or are you inspired to tell the world?
Well, mostly I'm trying to tell the stories that I feel very close to, but also it's because of me growing older now as a Filipino who had lived in the Philippines, migrated to the US, and then I loved coming home, loved the beaches, loved the cities and the people and family. So I have a specific thing that I was encountering later in life, and that is that I don't know much about my own country's history because the textbooks that I grew up reading, they seem like limited to me. I feel like they didn't offer me enough. And it wasn't your job after school to go seek more information, you know. As I got older, I started looking into what is the history of the country. What is the history of the country even before our colonizers arrived? What were the stories around there about the culture, the fabrics, the crafts, the music? All of those things are so fascinating. So, and I've traveled the world wherein I get to be fascinated by other cultures. Why can't I be more fascinated by my own country, which I am? So I feel like my journey specifically now at this age that I'm in is to kind of tell the stories that fascinate me about the lore, the things that you grew up with. I grew up in Cavite City in the 60s as a kid, right? You'd watch TV incessantly if your parents didn't scold you. But if you weren't watching TV, you'd be outside playing. You'd play outside where it's raining. If it's summer, you'd be chasing water buffalo and climbing trees. And then during typhoon season, you would have to huddle. There would be at least one candle that you have, and in the dark, somebody be telling like, ghost stories and creature stories. And it would be the elders who would be telling you stories that they've heard since they were kids, and then be encountering these characters and entities that you makes you feel like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And nobody else hears those stories, other than Filipino kids. So I'm thinking that would be fascinating to have the rest of the world kind of like hear these stories.
Mhm. So who in your family is the great storyteller? Your
Oh,
Lola,
that
Lolo?
would be my mother. My mom can spin a tale in any gathering that she enters into. She becomes the center. She might insist to be the center of the living room. Somehow the stories will be about her or the stories that she wants to tell. At some point, she'll be singing very well. My mom is a singer. She used to sing for a big band when I was young. And so, yes, she has a way of telling stories that she's very compelling.
Mhm. Did you tell stories about the Philippines also to your kids? What kind of stories did you tell them?
Well, only not as much as I wish I had. I did tell them stories as they were growing up because my kids were 8 and 6 years old when they moved here to the U.S. They didn't have as much exposure to kind of on the ground of people just telling them stories. So I had to kind of make up for that, but I don't think I did as thorough a job as I could have. But I did tell them a few here and there.
Mhm. So who will be in your team in Netflix? Will you be including a lot of Filipino talents, animators, cast and
I
crew?
I I hope to. I hope to. This is a very diverse industry, and there's a lot of Filipino talent and animation. So I hope that we can find and have them belong in this team of making this movie because these kinds of voices I need in terms of making sure that we have an authentic story that represents the culture well.
Mhm. Did you ever imagine this happening in your life? Like you just turned 61 recently.
I know, right? It's hard
Did you
to.
ever imagine this happening right now in your life in this journey?
I would have loved to have happened sooner, but you're not in charge of fate. So this is you like I don't know. The expression is like play the ball where it lies, and here it is right now, and that's what you're doing. So I tend not to question that anymore, and I hope to complete the film and release it someday
Mhm.
if I hurry up, and then people can watch it. But animated features are take a very long time to make. So I'm hoping to do a very good job, and doing a good job doesn't come easy, and it certainly doesn't come fast.
So leaving Pixar, was it bittersweet? Did you have a party?
Well, we couldn't because of COVID. That's one.
Yeah.
And it's bittersweet because I belonged to the company for 20 years. I learned a lot from there, from a lot of people. A lot of people I work with are friends and colleagues and extended family. Our group there, the Pix Noise, we have a Filipino community there. So I felt very at home. So in order to pursue adventure, you know, um, sometimes you have to leave home, of course, right? This is what all Filipinos do. We leave the country to find fortune and opportunity, but we come home back to the islands and recharge and then leave again. So we're adventurers. So I think I have a lot of that adventurous spirit. So it was time for me to go and seek
So the Filipinos working at Netflix will be known as Netnoy.
it. Is that what that is?
When was
I
the
don't
last time
know.
you were in the Philippines?
The last time I was in the Philippines was 2019, December, celebrating my birthday as I turned 60.
Uh-huh. And are you planning to go back soon?
I hope so. There's my son lives there, and we're always concerned about how he's doing and love to see him. Um, my daughter's in LA, so we're kind of in three different places. Would love to always kind of like be all together. Last time we were all together was in December of 2019. Well, January of 2020. So
Mhm.
there,
So how did you?
that was when Taal like blew up,
Oh yeah.
right? We were driving, we were driving me to the airport. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can go home. They shut down the airport, you
So
know.
all of this happened during the lockdown. What did you learn about yourself during the lockdown?
I learned that I like staying home. I learned that because I thrive in a community of filmmakers, and because you're forced to stay away from them, you can't. I learned to have to kind of just, listen to your own counsel, and it's really quite amazing. You kind of have this very pure way of looking at your work and hearing your voice, which is really fortunate for me because I am telling a story largely from me, all over. And I sometimes, in a world wherein you're collaborating, you have to let as many voices come in to help you make these things. But they may not be kind of as informed as you are about what you're trying to tell. So you're going to have to kind of make your way through that. This kind of isolation allows me to listen to my voice a lot more, and almost just singly just me, so that I can represent the kind of film and the characters that I want to talk about and show to the world.
So how do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I hope that 5 years from now, I don't know. I hope to have made a movie already. That's my thing. I hope to also have gone back and forth from the Philippines and maybe, you know, gotten a deeper tan at a white sand beach. So my needs are very simple. So
Mhm. Well, thank you very much, Ronnie, for giving us the opportunity to talk to you, and good luck
yes,
on your project.
yeah, thank you. And I'll say to you the same thing I said to Ruben. Is there a way for you guys, not that to ask permission, but to kind of run this by Netflix publicity? I'll send you the name of
Sure.
so that they can kind of see and kind of like nod to it and say good work, because they told me do whatever you want. So it's like okay,
Okay.
but just as like just show us, once you guys are done.
Yes, we will.
Okay,
So you just email it to us?
I will email it to you guys right now.
Okay. Well,
All right.
regards to Teresa, and good luck to your projects. We're very
Yes, and
proud
it's
of you.
and
We're
it's
happy for you.
oh my gosh, it's always good to see you guys are always so good at updates and what's happening to you guys professionally as well as the family. We feel like we're watching, the Ruben and Janet show. It's like you guys have a like a sitcom, or a TV show
Uh-huh.
that we get to watch. I think you may have to work on that so that you
Yes.
have filmed content and a theme
If you're
song.
going to do a movie about our life story, Ronnie, okay, I can portray myself, and you can get George Clooney to portray Ruben.
I hope he knows about that plan, right? He knows that yes, we'll get you a theme song. It'll be like, it's just like the set of Friends, except that it'll be you guys. And then the kids will come in and out. Celebrities will come and visit for interviews. It'll be hilarious.
Well, thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
very much. Bye.
Well, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.